Hello, I welcome in the video number 1 on the topic carbonyl compounds, aldehydes and ketones. So this topic belongs to paper number 8. Now what is the scope of this topic, aldehydes and ketones? What sort of information we can obtain after studying this topic? What is the scope? What is the utility of this topic? So let's see one by one. First, we can acquire knowledge about the basic information and structure of aldehydes and ketones. So we can obtain knowledge and the basic information of aldehydes and ketones. Similarly, we can get the idea about the structure of aldehydes and ketones. The second important scope of this topic, we can get the idea about the reactivity of carbonyl group, how carbonyl group reacts. So that idea we can get after studying this topic. The next, reactions and mechanisms of aldehydes and ketones can be understood after studying this topic. And last one, we can use these aldehydes and ketones or the knowledge obtained from this topic, aldehydes and ketones, in the synthesis of different organic compounds, or in short we can say in different synthesis we can use the knowledge of this topic, aldehydes and ketones, because in most of the drugs the carbonyl group is there. So we can apply the knowledge of this topic in the synthesis of different types of organic compounds. Now, what is the content or the syllabus of this topic? So we are going to discuss the introductory part of this aldehydes and ketones under introduction. Second, nomenclature of aldehydes and ketones. Third one, structure of carbonyl group that is present in aldehydes and ketones. Next one is the reactivity of carbonyl group. Then general mechanism of nucleophilic addition to carbonyl group. So in this point we are going to discuss only the general mechanism of nucleophilic addition to the carbonyl group. And in the last part of this topic we are going to discuss reaction mechanism and applications of aldol condensation, Perkins reaction, Cannizzaro reaction, Novangel condensation, and finally Reformatsky reaction. So these reactions we are going to study with respect to their statement, specific reaction, reaction mechanism, and also the applications of all these reactions. So in this video we will discuss the some part, and the remaining part will be discussed in the subsequent videos. Now let's begin with the introduction of this topic, aldehydes and ketones. So aldehydes and ketones are the first oxidation products of primary and secondary alcohols respectively. So what is the meaning of this? When we oxidize primary alcohols, that is a CH2OH group, means primary alcoholic group. So CH2OH group on oxidation gives a CHO, that is aldehyde, while the secondary alcohol, which is nothing but the CHOH, on oxidation gives ketones, that is a C double bond O. So aldehydes are the primary oxidation product of primary alcohols, and ketones are the first oxidation product of secondary alcohols. Remember, this is very important. Chemical transformation. Primary alcohols on oxidation gives aldehydes, means CH2OH on oxidation gives CHO, aldehyde, while secondary alcohols on oxidation gives ketones. CHOH, that is secondary alcoholic group, on oxidation gives C double bond O, that is ketone. Now, what is the general structure of aldehydes and ketones? So, aldehydes are generally represented by this formula RCHO, whereas ketones are generally represented by this general formula RCOR. So, R and R may be of different types or they may be of same type. Now, aldehydes and ketones, they contain carbonyl group. Aldehydes and ketones contain carbonyl group, and this carbonyl group is represented in this way. So, this is carbonyl group, in which we can remember the carbonyl carbon is a divalent carbon. This is the important information. While writing the reactions, we should remember the carbonyl carbon is a divalent, therefore it should be linked with the two other atoms or groups. Further, the carbonyl group is polar group. This C double bond O group is a polar group. Now, why this carbonyl group is polar group? Because if you look at the structure of the carbonyl group C double bond O, there is double bond between carbon and oxygen. As we know, oxygen is more electronegative than carbon. The pi electrons of a pi bond will be attracted towards oxygen, and as a result, oxygen will carry negative charge, whereas carbon will carry positive charge. So, carbonyl carbon is always electron deficient. So you should remember this sentence very firmly in your mind. Carbonyl carbon is electron deficient. As carbonyl carbon is electron deficient, it will form the bond with a nucleophile, that is electron rich species. Therefore, carbonyl compounds generally or commonly undergo nucleophilic addition reactions. In general, we can make one statement: aldehydes and ketones undergo nucleophilic addition reaction to form the products. The reactions which are shown by aldehydes and ketones are due to this carbonyl group. Whatever reactions aldehydes and ketones show, they are because of this carbonyl group. So this carbonyl group is responsible for all chemical reactions. Further, aldehydes and ketones show nucleophilic addition reactions. As I mentioned earlier, carbonyl carbon is electron deficient, therefore aldehydes and ketones will show nucleophilic addition reactions. So this is the introductory part about aldehydes and ketones. Now let us discuss the nomenclature of aldehydes. So already this is very basic part, that this part has already been completed in the lower classes, but still as it is the part of your syllabi, we have to take into account these points. Nomenclature of aldehydes. Aldehydes can be named by two systems. The first one is common name system, and second one is IUPAC name system. So what is the common name system? So the common name to the aldehydes is given from the acid obtained from that aldehyde. So we can convert this aldehyde to acid. Now which acid is obtained? Depending the name of acid, the common name of aldehyde is given. For example, suppose the acid obtained from aldehyde is formic acid, then we have to then the aldehyde will be named as formaldehyde. So this is how we can give the common name. That part we will discuss in the next slide with a few examples. So this is how the common name is assigned to the aldehydes. Looking at the acid formed from aldehyde, the common name is given to the aldehyde. Now the second name system, that is called as IUPAC name system. So how the IUPAC name is given to the aldehydes? So for that we have to identify the corresponding alkane. Looking at the structure of aldehyde, identify the corresponding alkane and replace the suffix e from alkane by suffix al. So this we have to do only. Just to find out the corresponding alkane of that aldehyde and just replace suffix e from alkane by suffix al so as to get the name IUPAC name of aldehyde. And as usual we have to follow the other rules of IUPAC, for example numbering and giving the priority in the names of substituents attached to the carbonyl carbon. So that is the routine part we have to follow. That routine, those routine IUPAC rules while assigning IUPAC name to the aldehydes. Now let's see some examples. So the first column is common name, the second one is structure, third one is IUPAC name. So the structure is HCHO. The common name will be formaldehyde because this aldehyde on oxidation will give formic acid. So the name of acid is formic acid, and from this formic acid the name, common name formaldehyde is given to this aldehyde. Now the IUPAC name for the same compound HCHO, as it contains one carbon, only one carbon atom is there, and one carbon atom is present in methane alkane. So methane is the corresponding alkane. Just by replacing suffix e from methane by al, we can arrive at the name methanol. Similarly, the another example CH3CHO, that is called as acetaldehyde because this on oxidation gives acetic acid, and the corresponding aldehyde will be called as acetaldehyde. Let me zoom this. Acetaldehyde. Now this compound IUPAC name, for assigning IUPAC name, look at the structure of this compound. It consists of two carbon atoms. So the corresponding alkane will be ethane. Just replace the suffix e by suffix al to get IUPAC name ethanol. So this is ethanol. Now CH3CH2CHO, that is propanaldehyde. So propionic acid is the oxidation product, therefore this common name is there, propanaldehyde, and as it contains three carbon atoms, the corresponding alkane will be propane, and after replacing suffix e by suffix al we can get the name propanol. Now C6H5CHO, this is called as benzaldehyde. Benzoic acid is the oxidation product. So the acid, as the acid is benzoic acid, the common name for the aldehyde will be benzaldehyde, and the IUPAC name for the same aldehyde is also similar, that is benzaldehyde. Now this is about the some examples of aldehydes and their common and IUPAC names. Now let us discuss nomenclature of ketones. So again, ketones are named by two systems, common name system and IUPAC name system. This is the first system, common name, and this one is IUPAC name system. So how the common name for ketones is given? They are named from the name of the alkyl group attached to the carbonyl group followed by the word ketone. Now if we have the ketone compound before us, then identify the alkyl groups attached to the carbonyl group. So assign the names of these alkyl groups initially according to alphabetical order, and then give the or write the word ketone. So this is the common name system. In the next slide we are going to discuss some examples of ketones and how their common name and IUPAC names are given. The second name system is IUPAC name system. So again here, from the ketone identify the corresponding alkane and replace the suffix E from alkane by suffix ONE. You will get the name, IUPAC name of that ketone, and again follow all the IUPAC rules as usual, such as numbering and alphabetical priority to the groups, etc. Now let's see some examples of ketones with their common name and IUPAC names. So CH3COCH3. So this is acetone. The common name for this compound, this ketone, is acetone. Now as IUPAC name, while giving IUPAC name, let us see the structure of this acetone, which consists of 3 carbon atoms, and the alkane containing 3 carbons is nothing but the propane, and we have to replace the suffix E by suffix ONE so that we can get the IUPAC name propanone. Similarly, C2H5COCH3. So this is the methyl group, this is ethyl group. First we have to identify which alkyl groups are attached. In this compound, one methyl group is there and another one is ethyl group. But while giving the names of these two groups, we have to follow the alphabetical order. Therefore we have to write ethyl group first, the name of ethyl group first, which is followed by the word methyl or the another alkyl group, that is methyl, and then we have to write the word ketone. So this is ethyl group, then methyl, this methyl group is there, and word ketone. So this is common name system. Now the IUPAC name system, it consists of, this ketone consists of 4 carbon atoms, and the 4 carbon containing alkane is nothing but the butane. Just replace suffix E by suffix ONE and just assign the position of ketone group C double bond O group by giving a suitable number. So this is 2-butanone, that is the IUPAC name for this compound. Now another example is this one, C3H7COCH3. So this C3H7 is propyl group and this is as usual methyl group. So from these two groups, so alphabetically methyl group comes first, which is followed by propyl group. So the common name methyl propyl ketone. Now this compound, while giving the name, IUPAC name for this compound, it consists of how many carbon atoms? These 3, 4 and this is 5. So pentane is the alkane And just by replacing suffix e by suffix one, we can get the IUPAC name 2-pentanone. 2 is the position of ketone group. Then C6H5CO, C6H5. So two phenyl groups are linked to ketone group, therefore a diphenyl ketone, common name diphenyl ketone, and the IUPAC name is also a diphenyl ketone. This is how we can assign the common names as well as IUPAC names to aldehydes as well as ketones. Now, structure of carbonyl group. So this is important point. Structure of carbonyl group. So as we know, carbonyl group is nothing but the C double bond O. Now carbon of carbonyl group is sp2 hybridized and forms 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals. Remember, carbonyl carbon undergo sp2 hybridization and forms 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals. All these 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals forms 3 sigma bonds with 3 atoms or groups. So 3 sigma bond formation will be there. Unhybridized p orbital of carbon containing 1 electron overlaps laterally with the p orbital of oxygen to form the pi bond. So this will be clear in the next from the next slide, in which we have shown the orbital diagram of carbonyl group. So the carbonyl carbon, oxygen and 2 other atoms linked to carbon, they all remain in flat trigonal plane. So C double bond O and 2 alkyl groups attached to the carbonyl carbon, all these atoms are present in a one plane, and that is called as trigonal plane. And 2 alkyl groups means R, C, R dash. 2 atoms or groups joined to carbonyl carbon are inclined at 120 degree. The bond angle 120 degree is there in RCR atoms. So this is the orbital picture of the carbonyl group. So this is sigma bond, which is formed by sp2 hybridization. This is second sigma bond, which is formed by sp2 hybridization. This is the third sigma bond formed by sp2 hybrid orbital. So these are the this is one, this is second, this one is third. 3 sigma bond formation is there with this carbonyl carbon by using 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals, each containing 1 electron. Now this is the p orbital. This is the p orbital which is not involved in sp2 hybridization of carbon, and it contains 1 electron. So this p orbital of carbon overlaps with the p orbital of oxygen containing 1 electron, and there is formation of this pi bond. So this is the pi bond formation, and here we are getting these are the 3 sigma bonds, and this is the 1 pi bond, and the bond angle is found to be 120 degree. This bond angle is found to be 120 degree. Further, this atom, all these atoms are in one plane. So here also the same is explained in different way in colored orbitals. Colored diagram is there to explain how the carbon oxygen double bond is formed in carbonyl group. Now let us come to the reactivity of carbonyl group. Again, this is important point, because if you understood this part, we can be able to discuss different reactions of aldehydes and ketones. So as we have mentioned earlier, carbonyl carbon is always electron deficient carbon. Carbonyl carbon is electron deficient carbon, because oxygen, which is more electronegative, is linked to that carbon, and that oxygen will attract the pi electron density towards itself. As a result, carbon will acquire positive charge and oxygen will carry negative charge. So electron donating alkyl groups decrease the positive charge on the carbonyl carbon and hence decreases its reactivity, while electron withdrawing groups increases the positive charge and hence increases its reactivity. So what is the meaning of this? To understand the meaning of this sentence, let's take these three examples. So these are the aldehydes. This one is formaldehyde, this one is acetaldehyde, and this one is acetone. If we look at the carbonyl carbon of all these three aldehydes, of all these three carbonyl compounds, in first formaldehyde, this carbon carries two hydrogens. This is one hydrogen, this one is second hydrogen. Two hydrogens. In acetaldehyde, one CH3 group is there and another one is hydrogen. And we know that any alkyl group is electron donating or releasing group. So electron donating alkyl groups decrease the positive charge on the carbonyl carbon. So here, as we have mentioned, this carbonyl carbon is electron deficient, it carries positive charge, oxygen carries negative charge. Here no electron donation by these two hydrogens, but in case of acetaldehyde, one methyl group is there and it has tendency to donate electrons to the electron deficient this carbonyl carbon. So whatever is the original positive charge present on carbonyl carbon is that get minimized due to the electron donation of this methyl group. So this carbonyl carbon carries less positive charge as compared to this carbonyl carbon of formaldehyde. Now let's take the third example of acetone. So in this case, this carbonyl carbon carries two methyl groups. This is one and this one is second methyl group. So both the methyl groups, they are donating electrons to this carbonyl carbon. So whatever original positive charge is there on that carbon is minimized to great extent, and that carbonyl carbon becomes slightly electron rich. So the nucleophile, if we carry out nucleophilic addition reaction of all these three compounds, then we will find that this compound formaldehyde will be more reactive towards that nucleophile as compared to acetaldehyde, as compared to this acetone. So in formaldehyde, greater positive charge, highest positive charge among these three will be there on this carbonyl carbon of formaldehyde. In case of acetaldehyde, the positive charge is minimized, and in case of acetone, the positive charge on this carbonyl carbon is further minimized. Therefore the nucleophile will priority will go to the carbonyl carbon of formaldehyde, means formaldehyde will be more reactive as compared to acetaldehyde, as compared to acetone. Now the extent of bulky groups attached to the carbonyl carbon creates a steric hindrance and thus decreases the reactivity of carbonyl carbon. So if carbonyl carbon carries more bulky groups, then there will be steric hindrance, or there will be crowding around that carbonyl carbon, and that carbonyl carbon will not be available for the nucleophile to undergo addition reaction. Now let's take some examples of carbonyl compounds. So this is acetaldehyde CH3CHO. In this there is one methyl group attached to this carbonyl carbon. In this case, two methyl groups are there. In this case, this is ethyl group and methyl group. So here, as we go from left to right, the bulkiness of the alkyl or aryl groups attached to the carbonyl carbon increases, and therefore the carbonyl carbon get crowded by these bulky groups. Therefore the incoming nucleophile is unable to form the bond with the carbonyl carbon of aldehydes and ketones. Thus the bulkiness of the alkyl groups or crowding around the carbonyl carbon decreases the reactivity of carbonyl compounds. So here acetaldehyde is more reactive as compared to acetone, which is more reactive than this carbonyl compound, than this, and then this. Here if you compare, two bulky phenyl groups are there around this carbonyl carbon. Let me zoom this one. Here this carbonyl carbon is not available due to this phenyl ring as well as this phenyl ring. So crowding is at highest level around this carbonyl carbon, and therefore this ketone is found to be less, this carbonyl carbon will be found to be less reactive towards nucleophile, or nucleophilic addition reaction will not be occur as easily as compared to the previous compounds. So this is about the some points on the topic aldehydes and ketones. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. In the next video we are going to discuss the subsequent points from the topic aldehydes and ketones. Thank you very much.